Hi guidance counselors. This video is going to give you an overview of the student file area within Reach. Okay, so if I share over to the Reach admin area, okay, so as we know from the previous video that this is where we set up, we arrange, we view our students, we look at our lesson plans, we observe presentations, we look at our website, file share, etc. But within the admin area, we also have an area up here called student file. And just so that you're aware, when I click on the student file, this will bring me into a demo file of what all your students will see from their side of the Reach Plus program. So this is very important because this gives us the opportunity to go into the student file, our own student file, it's a demonstration, and we can play around with the various different apps. We can observe how it works in terms of what the students are seeing from their end. So if I click on student file, this brings me into what you would say a normal kind of student file will look like for a student, depending on the amount of work students have carried out within a particular year group. So as we can see here, there's so much information for students to access to. So I'm going to briefly show you some of the more important parts. Okay, over to the right hand side, we have a notice board. Okay, and from the previous video, I showed that when you enter into the admin, that you will see that you've got an appointment possibly from a student, a request. So here is what it looks like when you reply to that request. And from the previous video, I've sent a request back and I've said, look, I've been approving for the 15th of April, 10 o'clock, the appointment's confirmed. So me, the student, has now seen that the guidance counselor has responded, the appointment is confirmed, and the guidance counselor has sent a note saying, bring your PPSN number. Okay, so that's how the guidance appointments work. Beneath that, we've got school articles here, and we've got recent school files. So these two areas relate to the guidance website, okay? So anything that we do to our guidance website, any articles we upload or any school files that we add will appear also in the student file. So students are getting access to that data very quickly. Over to the left here, we've got this week's career events. So this is a fantastic area for students to become really independent learners in terms of researchers as well. So we have to put, I suppose, the emphasis on students to be able to independently access this information in terms of events that's happening. So this gives them a week in advance in terms of what's happening. If I click to go to calendar, we can look way further into the school year and observe all the various different events that are happening. So let's say a student in particular is looking for a specific area and they're looking into STEM events. If I click on STEM events, it will give me all the STEM events that are happening throughout the next year, I suppose, up until August 24th. If I click on any of those particular events, so let's say I'm interested in UCD and I click on that, it'll give me all the information I need on that particular event. And in most cases, I can register here for that particular event so that I don't miss it. So that's the kind of the calendar area. Again, as I say, we need to press our students into this to figuring out how to do their own research, and all of the information is there presentable to them. They just need to observe and click and find. Okay, college updates basically is information that gets released from colleges of further education, universities, colleges around Ireland. Career news is an excellent area for students to catch up on anything that's very topical in terms of what's happening in the now. So for example, there's an excellent weekly Leaving Cert checklist that Careers Portal upload each week. So if I was to click on that, and remember I'm a student in this area, I'll find out what I need to be, I suppose, thinking about from the week of April 12th. And there's a lot of really, really good, important guidelines and checks that students need to acknowledge in this particular week. So that keeps students engaged and brings them up to speed with a lot of deadlines that they'll probably need to know about. Up here, we've got Study action plan. So basically this is a result of student carrying out a study action plan, and this is the advice this particular student has got in terms of how they will get themselves prepared for study. Recent favorites here. So this is an acknowledgement of what this particular student has recently observed in terms of their research. So you can see this student is looking into anthropology, business studies international, and they're looking at careers in terms of plumber, accountant, and electrical. The progress indicator is a really nice feature. So basically, throughout the Reach Plus program, students need to, every particular app or piece of work or lesson that they work on, when they get to the end of that, they need to click a box that means they're adding to career portfolio, okay? So the acknowledgement when that happens is that that box will turn green. So when I highlight here, I've got my talent, that's complete, I know. So if I'm focused on what I need to get done, if I highlight the gray areas, enterprise skills, exam targets, world of work, job holder interview and such. So basically there's an indicator, there's little pieces that I need to finish off. But like any student that gets to this point in the particular, and the lifespan across the Reach Plus program, that looks really, really good if they've covered that huge amount of work. So on the left-hand side, we've got our apps and tools, okay? The REACH program is broken up into 5 areas: career planning and research, self-assessment, study performance, world of education, and world of work. These colors and coding, I suppose, corresponds with the book. If I'm to click on, let's say, self-assessment, all my apps are here, and I can easily click and move in. So let's say the guidance counselor has mentioned that we're going to be covering multiple intelligence. If I click on multiple intelligence, it'll bring me into a whole descriptor of what multiple intelligence are, and then it'll bring me into the questionnaire that no doubt the guidance counselor will ask the student to fill out. So there are the apps. There, as I said, those first 5 areas there cover all the apps within the REACH program. Okay, so beneath that we've got Say Libra. Basically, what we're doing at the moment is we're translating all our apps as Gaeilge. So that area will begin to populate as time moves forward. For LCVP here, just so people know, because it's not well known, that anybody who's teaching LCVP, if your school has REACH in your school, basically, LCVP teachers will have access to all of the program work, basically, that students will need to carry out. So students can essentially carry out the whole LCVP program work on their REACH program. All you need to do as a guidance counselor, if you know an LCVP teacher, contact Careers Portal, ask to get them login details. The teacher will get access to those login details, and when they log in, they will have access to all this information. So I'll give you an example: enterprise report. Here's a report, the whole enterprise area of LCVP. So you imagine a student is clicking there, and they're sitting at home and they just need to revise in terms of what they need to do for that enterprise report. All the guidelines and assessment criteria is here. When they're very happy and understand what they need to do, they'll click on create, edit, enterprise report, and you've got all the pieces here to basically give them step-by-step guidance of how to carry out their enterprise report. So again, it's an invaluable kind of resource for LCVP teachers. It means all their students can have control over where they're storing their information. And the great thing for LCVP teachers is that they can print off each student's full report containing all this information into one document, or save it into a PDF if they need so. Okay. Favorites area for me is hugely important because I'm very driven on getting our students to become independent researchers. In the favorites area, and it's broken up into careers, apprenticeships, level 8s, level 7s, level 6s, and PLC courses. Okay, so this is where the students will research and save their research in this area. So if I'm looking at, let's say, level 8 courses, and I find a particular course that I like, if I start at, for example, so if I click on level 8, for example, and I'm looking at a course, I'm going to pick the first one pops up here. Let's say it's Accounting and Cork Institute of Technology, and I really like this particular course, and I've read about the entry requirements. I read about what particular student would be associated with that type of course. 316 points, 4 years. It's course CR400. If I really like this course, be it could be only in transition year or in 5th year, and if I click this add to favorites, okay, I don't need to remember where I found this course. If I go back into my student file, I'll know, I'll have the peace of mind that that course will relocate itself back in here into my level 8, so that further down the line, that if I need to look back into what I'm thinking about or what I actually want to do and what I actually do not want to do, I'll find all the courses I've researched and I can simply remove if needs be, and cut it down to my bare maybe 10, 12 coming up to CAO deadline, which I'll meet with my guidance counselor to give me further guidance on that. So that's that favorites area. And my files basically, in here, students have access to a file management system that you can upload any particular file they want, PowerPoint presentations, CVs, you know, personal statements, whatever it needs to be, they'll store it in here. Also, as a guidance counselor, you can send them files directly from your file management into their school files area. So you would acknowledge to the students, listen guys, I've sent you a PowerPoint presentation or a checklist, whatever it be, check your school files area and they'll have and receive it there to be able to download and edit if needs be. So that's a kind of general kind of look into the student file area. In terms of messages, okay, when a student logs in or they get an acknowledgement through an email that the guidance counselor has sent them a message, this is what it looks like here. So you'll see a little number popping up in here to indicate that you have. Click on messages. So it's a class group message. So if I click on that, whatever message the guidance counselor has sent will appear in here. So students then can acknowledge that that information is sent. And maybe it could be a piece of work that students need to carry out for next class, just depending on what the message is. But just so that there's clear communication directly from guidance counselor to student. So that is an overview of the student file area. I hope you found that useful. And you know, if there's any comments or feedbacks, we'd appreciate that at Careers Portal. And thank you for listening.